Okay, so in this way I want to talk about is One Piece, and obviously that's going to be about kaidos, mythical fish devil fruit, and some uh, speculation what that maybe can be. Obviously, as I already said that in 2 videos, I think that it maybe can be the Leviathan. Man, some other people think that is the mythical story with the fish that swim up on a waterfall, and then because only one of them knows come to the top of the waterfall, was praised of the guards and turned to a dragon. So the thing there we have that, for example, say for example that Kaido belonged to some Oni race, and then he get the mythical devil fruit from Big Mom after the incident of Guard Valley. But we don't. The only thing that is missing, I think, obviously we don't know what kind of mythical fish we're talking about. The only thing that is missing here is that why Big Mom give special just Kaido of all the other member of the Rocks Pirate him that fruit with no any reason, so we not know yet if there is a reason or not why he especially shows Kaido. We know that Whitebeard, we have Whitebeard, we have Golden Lion, Shaki, Yon the Silver Axe, and the other one I don't remember the name of. And she especially shows Kaido to give that mythical fruit to him. And we have to understand. We need to understand that a mythical devil fruit is the most rarest fruit you can ever give. Fine. So there have to be some very very special reason for Big Mom to choose Kaido to just give him that fruit, because there have to be some, like obviously she say in the chapter 999 that Kaido owns her big time, obviously because it's very very hard to get the hands on the mythical devil fruit. So obviously this is a big reason why she owns him. Kaido owns her a lifetime for this, because it's the most rarest. There's the rarest thing you can ever get about devil fruit. But here is the thing: here is that we know that devil fruits do not works well in the water. We know that Jack eats the ancient mammoth fruit, and he was a fish person. So, but he can breathe underwater because he's a fish person, but he cannot move underwater. So he can, if he fall in the water, he don't die, but he cannot move. So he gonna die later on, but he can breathe underwater. So he's paralyzed underwater, but he can still breathe. So to give somebody a mythical fish fruit makes that sense that you cannot move underwater. If that fruit is not something a very special fruit, that it's different from all the other fruit that can make you move underwater and breathe underwater. So that is the only explanation for Kaido to be an emperor. If he get that fruit with a fish fruit, that have to mean that he can move underwater, because you cannot get this kind of mythical fish fruit and you just drown to the bottom of the sea, but you still breathe. Then you can do nothing. You cannot find a new allies. You cannot find an army. You cannot make a name for yourself. So you have that fruit have to be very special. In that sense, that it makes you that you can fly and you can swim underwater. It's going to be very very it's going to be the only fruit that we know so far, if that is the case, that can do this thing. So it's totally totally broke the rule. Gonna totally broke the rules of what the devil fruit mean in a power. If we know that the fruit says clearly of the devil fruit that is a curse of the sea. If you eat a devil fruit, you can no longer swim. You sink to the bottom of the sea. And if you're a normal person, eat a devil fruit, you sink to the sea and you die because you cannot move and you drown and you cannot breathe. But if a fish person eat a devil fruit, they just drown to the bottom of the sea, but they can still breathe, but they cannot move their body. So, if Kaido get that fruit, and it's fish fruit, that's to say clearly fish fruit 2 times in the text. And we know that Kaido is right now is an emperor of the sea, with a big army, and he have an alliance with a very powerful person in his alliance under his army, and he's ruled a whole country that he conquered from Oden, and Oden was the right hand man of Whitebeard, and then he joined Golden Roger. So that have to mean that that means that that mythical fish fruit can swim underwater. That means it's the only fruit that can move underwater and can fly in the air. So that is going to be the most rare thing ever, because if you can move underwater and you can move on land and you can fly, that means obviously that is the best fruit, mythical fruit that we know so far, if that is the case, or something else. So it's not yet explained. And here is the question here: if that mythical devil fruit is so powerful that Kaido get from Big Mom, why she give Kaido that fruit? She can give anybody else that fruit, but he chose Kaido to give him that mythical fruit. It means something. It have to. Obviously, they're gonna. I hope they will explain that in the chapter 1000 in next year. For that this fruit needs lots of explanation, for people to understand how that fruit will work, because it's not just normal mythical fruit. It's something special here we're talking about. We're talking about something that is totally breaking the rules of the devil fruit rule book. Totally broken the rules. It's almost like you say, for example, we jump to a total different universe, and we jump to the DC universe, and we leave the manga universe for a second. We say that you have a Kryptonian that can walking in a house that is built of green stone. I don't remember the name of the stone that makes Superman weak. But we say it is a room with lots of green stones, and at the same time is a red sunlight, and the Kryptonian is still super strong with no weakness, even if he's been in a room a whole week. He still can fight against Doomsday or Darkseid at the same time, or some super strong magic character, for example, as Trigon. That is what I mean with this fruit. It's something very, very special, because it should not be even possible to get a mythical fish fruit without suffering huge consequence. And this we need to know the explanation of, because you cannot say, yes, okay, he get the mythical fruit, then he turned to the emperor, because we know that all the things that get put in the water should have eating a devil fruit, mythical, so Paramecia, special Paramecia, all of them will drown to the bottom of the sea, and so on. So that means this fruit can move underwater, and on land, and on sea, on water, on the sea, sorry, on land, and in the sky. Because he's the emperor now, because he's the strongest creature and he's the emperor. And we know that he was many times captured, and they cannot kill him anyway. They try to use guillotine, explosion, nothing kills him. So this is something very, very special, because if he was a normal fish, belong to fish race, Kaido do, if he does that, he was still going to be sink to the bottom, because we know that Jackie, it was a fish race, and he ate the mammoth fruit, and he was sink to the bottom of the sea. So there have to be something very special with this fruit, because you don't gonna get a fruit that's based on the sea, when you know that this fruit, if something is something special. It's something that makes this fruit very, very special, and something that Big Mom is somehow knows for some reason why she give Kaido that fruit, for some big, very special reason, and that we don't know yet why. And or maybe she have some, I don't know. It's very, very strange, because we know that Big Mom cannot read the poneglyph. We know that Kaido cannot read the poneglyph, and we know that Big Mom doesn't have any person in her army, or Kaido don't have any person in his army that can read the poneglyph, and you need to read the poneglyph to find One Piece. So there have to be some reason why Big Mom just give Kaido that mythical fruit that is so powerful. It's almost like you give somebody like 5 atomic bombs, you give them 3 countries with the biggest army, and you just give them, and that is what we're missing here for the big explanation why for all of this kind of thing, why he just get that fruit, why she especially shows Kaido for that thing when she don't shows Whitebeard or Golden Ryan Shaki or John the Silver Axe for that thing with that fruit. So that is what I'm questioning here. I don't question any other person that think that is this from the Chinese mythology with the fish. I think a different thing, but it can be everything that is based. But there's something interesting here, that is something extremely special to have this kind of fruit that is this kind of powerful. And so my question here, if for example one example is that Kaido is is a dragon, belong to the dragon race, and he's a dragon, have nothing to do with the fruit, and the mythical fish fruit is something different, and he have one natural power that is belong to his race, and then we have the fruit that gives him a second power, and that is mythical fish fruit. But even if that was the case, even then Kaido should be drowned to the sea, and not move on the sea, and he should not be emperor. So there have to be some big explanation to all of this. And we probably gonna find this explanation next year to everything, and then we see if is something that lots of other people speculate, or something totally different, or something that I speculate about. So we just have to see. And this, for me, I think that is the most interesting thing so far in the Wano. Is just that just at the end of the chapter 999, when they explain, they just say a part of the title of that mythical fruit. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see later on with all of these kind of things. And then the second thing here is that with Yamato Yamato and Kaido have horns on their head, and we know that Yamato is the daughter of Kaido, but who is the mother over Yamato? Who is the mother, and who was the wife that Kaido have to get Yamato? Is Yamato also belong to a dragon race or Oni race or something other race? Do Yamato have? So that is my question: is that is Kaido a dragon, but it has nothing to do with the devil fruit. And the devil fruit is just something different. If that is the case, that means it can be any mythical fish in history that is based, or a sea creature that is based on mythology from every around the world. If that is the awakening is the dragon, and it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting because then we have, first of all, the fish fruit was able to move underwater without any problem, because you cannot be awakening you cannot be use awakening with that mythical fruit if you can even move underwater. So that first of all, you have to be able to move underwater. First of all, if you're gonna swim up from the waterfall. Yeah, there's lots of things that we have to know in the next chapter, and obviously then is obviously something different in the chapter. Is what happened to Jinbei with Hu Su and Black Maria, who when she's probably gonna fight Nico Robin, and then we have Yamato, that probably gonna fight Sasaki. What happened to so? But the big thing here is that what kind of mythical fish do we gonna talk about? What will that be when it's gonna be shown next year? Is that what many people think, or something totally different? We don't know yet, because it's lots of different. It's always different thing when you talk about the mythology in the book comparable in One Piece, because first of all, it was only a fish turned to a dragon. We don't have a human turned to a fish turned to a dragon. So we have one thing, one block. So it's not belong to the mythical story that is there, and that block is Kaido in its base form. So that is the problem for me, and this is the reason why I think is something different what lots of people think. I don't say that my idea is best, absolutely not. I just say I think that is a different thing. I think it's something that we're going to be very surprised. I don't think that's probably not going to be my idea either, but it's something we're going to be very surprised that we not suspected at all. So it's totally different, because Oda is very famous to surprise his fans with something that never suspected lots of times. So yeah, that is where I think that we're going to be surprised with something that is we totally don't expect. That's something totally different. Yeah, that is what I think, and we have to wait and see. Yeah.